And new today, CTV confirming this breaking news development. Nova Scotia MP Chris D'Entremont has resigned from the Conservative caucus. Senior political correspondent Mike Couteur is joining us live. Mike, what are you hearing about this, and could the timing signal something more significant?
Yeah, we could hear that we are hearing that he could be possibly crossing the floor, although that right now is a bit of an outside possibility. We know that he has resigned from the Conservative caucus, and that means he will sit as an independent as of this moment. CTV News has reached out to him on next steps, asking him what those could be. He said those will be coming soon. Now, it's interesting to note, Stefan, that he did win his riding in this last election by just 533 votes. In second place was the Liberal member. So it was just 1.1% of the votes. But asked by Vassy Kapelos, our chief political correspondent on CTV's Power Play, what was behind this when Vassy did ask Andrew Scheer, the deputy leader the Conservative leader in the House, he said that it goes back to D'Entremont not getting the deputy speaker role in the House of Commons, and he says he still has some old grievances from that. Certainly, we're waiting to hear from D'Entremont for the real answer, and we're hoping to get that as soon as possible.
It would be an interesting move. He's been a Conservative MP since 2019. When it comes to the Conservatives, we've heard from Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre that they will not be backing this budget. What more can you tell us about the potential for a snap election?
Yeah, all of the leaders have really weighed in on this, and a number of them have already said they don't see how they can vote for it. Pierre Poilievre, as you had mentioned, Bloc leader Yves-François Blanchet as well. And those two hold a lot of votes, as you know. But then you have Don Davies of the NDP and Elizabeth May, who is the one Green seat in the House. And both of those two said they're open to more discussions and negotiations with Prime Minister Mark Carney on this budget, because we know that this is now a bill that will be before the House, and of course negotiations can happen, amendments can happen to the budget bill as well. So really it doesn't mean that today is the day when we are deciding whether or not this government will fall, Stefan. It will go through the process, it will go to committee, and some of those amendments could really change it in such a way that possibly the NDP could feel like they could have some of their members, some of their 7 members vote for it, and Elizabeth May may be open to it as well. So certainly right now, the two other opposition parties, the Bloc Québécois and Conservatives, saying that they are opposing it, full stop, but there is an out for the Liberal Party in those two other parties in the House of Commons, and whether or not there will be any negotiations, that is up to the Prime Minister himself, and whether or not he wants to send Canadians back to the polls, because if the government does fall on the budget, we are headed to another election.
And Mike, what are people saying about the size of the public service and the cuts signaled in the budget? We heard from the Union Public Service Alliance of Canada even last week that almost suggests that the sky was falling when it came to the return of pre-pandemic levels of the workforce. Clearly, that's not the case.
Yeah, and certainly, of course, the unions do not want to see any kind of cuts in the public service, worried that that will mean a reduction in services. Now, François-Philippe Champagne, the finance minister, is saying we need to get the public service back to a sustainable level. We know that there are a number of cuts that they're looking at, and some through attrition as well. One of the issues in that is how will they get that done? They have not clearly sort of put a roadmap in this budget as to how they will see those cuts happen. But certainly there will be, again, some negotiations potentially with the public service unions on how this could roll out. The government has laid out in this budget document they want this to happen, and now the actual making of it happen and trying to make sure that this gets done in the way that does not affect services. That is something that the government is looking for, and the union, I'm sure, as well.
All right, CTV senior political correspondent Mike Couteur reporting live for us tonight. Thank you, Mike.